Reports have been swirling that Disney are preparing to reboot their lucrative Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, with a high possibility that Johnny Depp and character Jack Sparrow with him will be walking the plank as Disney sails the franchise in new directions. A report from Deadline revealed that Disney has been in early talks with Deadpool 1 and 2 screenwriters Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick to pen the upcoming film, which is said to be in very early development, with super producer Jerry Bruckheimer still attached to the franchise. While the notion that Johnny Depp and his iconic Jack Sparrow won't be returning really does come down to speculation and hearsay, given that Disney have been actively severing ties with some of their more controversial connections in recent months, and with many cinemagoers finding his continued portrayal of Sparrow becoming somewhat stale after 15 years, this whole thing really does seem like a real possibility. I'm personally an enormous Pirates fan, and though many people do have issues with some or all of the films, I've enjoyed every single installment so far. Some more than others, yes, but overall, I just love all of the Pirates adventures. My favourite Pirates films are the original trilogy, and while they are often overblown with convoluted plots and bombastic special effects, I think there's a charm to them, and a real nostalgic magic, and the fact that they were the return to grand adventure on cinema screens, especially for Disney. While I didn't enjoy 4 as much as the original trilogy, I certainly found 5 to be a return to form for the series. However, the one thing that has bugged me with the last 2 installments was the one thing that kind of made the originals so special: Johnny Depp. The original Pirates movies worked because they were ensemble pictures, with intricate stories focused around a number of different characters. While Sparrow was always positioned as the standout character of the originals, he was never a lead, somewhat playing second fiddle to Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley's Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann, whose stories really did drive the original narratives. Pirates 4 and 5 instead chose to tell Jack Sparrow stories. 4 was done so in a manner that almost felt like an extension or spin-off of the previous films instead of being a true sequel, while 5 managed to go back to the roots and tie up loose ends from the original series, feeling like a worthy follow-up. But I just never felt that the decision to put Jack Sparrow front and center of those movies ever worked. It just never felt right to me. It was almost too much of a character that really only works best in small doses. And on top of that, the fact that Depp's performance in these two just really felt lackluster and almost phoned in. His characterization in 4 and 5 almost didn't even feel like Jack Sparrow, but just Johnny Depp starring as Johnny Depp playing Johnny Depp, and in effect somewhat losing the original spark and magic of the character. In effect, Pirates 4 and 5 already seem to be a reboot of the series, so any new reboot is almost like giving the franchise a thrice over. But is it a bad thing to hit reset once again and so soon, this time without Sparrow? Well, I'm in two minds on this one. In one mind, Sparrow did bring so much charm to the original movies and really made them the successes that they are, so much so that I'm not sure that a Pirates movie would actually work without his involvement in some capacity. But again, in another mind, with Depp's Sparrow portrayal becoming so stale, would including him in a new run of movies just continue to drag them down? I kind of feel that Pirates 5 left the franchise on a really good note. It rounded out the original Swan Turner narrative and gave a closure to the decade-old story. I said back in my review of Pirates 5 that I'd be happy if they left it there and never gave us a Pirates 6. So for this reason, I'm kind of intrigued how a reboot can go, especially for the fact that Disney may be able to kickstart a new narrative that doesn't undo all the work Pirates 5 did to give audiences closure to that specific story. As I said, I love the Pirates franchise, but I think the sense of adventure and grand storytelling is what I love so much about it, and not exactly the specific characters. I think with the right team on board, the magic of those original 3 films could be easily recaptured with a new cast of characters. Personally, I think maybe it is a touch too soon to reboot a series that effectively only ended a year ago, but I'm open for more grand stories in this world that I love, and saying that, I do hope that a new reboot can stay within the same established world, instead of starting a fresh slate on 15 years worth of mythology, and I'm unsure why Disney would want to do that either, since the franchise is so well known and beloved at this point. I don't want a Pirate 6 that reopens and continues the original original narrative, but I'm definitely open to new stories in the existing sandbox. As we saw in Pirates 3, the pirate world is so big, with thousands of pirates and hundreds of crews. All the reboot really needs to do is shift focus to a new captain lead and a new crew. Maybe a passing mention of Will Turner or Elizabeth Swann or Barbossa or even Jack Sparrow to make the reboot seem like a little bit more of a continuation without actually having them there in the physical. So, what are my predictions on this whole thing? Well, for one, these are all early speculations and murmurings, and for all we know, Depp may still be on board for a Pirates 6, or we may just never get another Pirates movie for a number of years. I do find it hard to believe that Disney would drop the franchise altogether though. Despite audience and critic response to the last films, this is still a lucrative franchise which has made Disney over $4.5 billion at the box office alone. And with such a large presence at the park, Disney really does want to keep these movies rolling out and this franchise alive. I think that in an effort to keep the movies fresh and relevant though, the idea that Disney are looking to reboot is probably pretty accurate. And with Sparrow being the common element dragging down the last couple of movies, it makes sense that they give him the old pirate boot up the backside. My guess is that Disney will replace Sparrow with a new character, and having just debuted Red, a new female pirate in the Disneyland ride, as well as a roaming character in the park, I imagine that Disney is grooming the character for a lead role in their films. It's a marketing technique that Walt Disney would use in the 1950s when he debuted Sleeping Beauty's castle at Disneyland and released the Lady and the Tramp novelization to the public years before the movies even came out. With audiences slowly becoming familiarized with Red over the coming years, she'll already be a household name amongst Disney fans and be ready for her own swashbuckling adventures, which I'm sure people will be really excited about. I can guarantee right now that Disney will begin to ramp up her presence in due course. It's also worth mentioning that a small bio for Red on the Disney Parks blog even links her to Jack Sparrow, noting that he owes her a ship following a previous encounter. If this is to be taken as gospel in potential movies, it sure sounds like Disney wouldn't erase the character completely and will definitely keep any new series grounded in the previous continuity. This is the kind of nod or reference that I think would work really well in the movies. I actually think that this idea is pretty great. Yes, there will be people upset with the idea of a female pirate leading the film and screaming about feminist agendas and all that crap, but let's just ignore that crowd. I mean, after all, Elizabeth was a pirate for an entire film. Not just any pirate, a pirate king, and that led to some of the most awesome sequences in the entire franchise. I say, bring on Red. I cannot wait to see some more badass female pirates kicking some butt on the high seas. And at that, it's over to you guys. How do you feel about a Pirates reboot? Do you think Disney are going about it the right way or the wrong way? Or do you think they should just leave the franchise where it is? Fire away in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. But as always, guys, stay civil. If this is your first time viewing one of my videos, you like what you've seen, you'd like to see more like this in the future, then please don't forget to hit that big old subscribe button up on your screen right now, and also hit that like button down below if you're feeling extra generous. Also, don't forget to check out my many social media accounts, and please consider supporting me over on Patreon. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day.